525,600 minutes, 525,000 moments, oh dear. 525,600 minutes. How can you measure a year? Yo, Rent Live was phenomenal tonight, and I am so excited to witness this great production. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to KRS TV. This is your boy Kenny, and this is my review of the Rent Live. Well, technically it wasn't live because Brennan Hunt, who actually played the role of Roger Davis, he actually injured himself during the dance rehearsal, so he wasn't able to do the numbers, and plus there's a lot of movement, so he wasn't able to perform it live. But they did perform the ending live, with the original cast, which was amazing. And I can honestly say I was moved by this production. There were moments where I teared up. There were moments where I was just moved by not only the actual the music and the great cinematography, but also the great talent that made up this cast. And I have to say, they really cast the Rent Live very well. Now, for those who've never seen Rent or don't know some of the basis behind it, Rent is a rock musical that was created by Jonathan Larson, who sadly passed away before Rent actually premiered off-Broadway in 1996. And it's unfortunate that this artist didn't get the chance to see his work, because this work is an international phenomenon. It's won countless awards. It's been performed all over the world, and it's definitely that piece that a lot of great artists want to attack, because it's so real, it's so honest, and it really speaks to the reality that a lot of us live, because pretty much Rent is about a group of impoverished young people living in the East Village of New York, and they're under the shadow of the HIV and AIDS epidemic, which really was havoc within the late 1980s and early 90s in New York City. To also know about how the AIDS epidemic was very rampant, I would suggest watching Paris is Burning. Great documentary. But, I really did love the fact that they really paid homage to Jonathan Larson. They definitely showcased him throughout the show. They showed many of his quotes, and then they, showed Jonathan Larson at the end. And I have to say, rest in peace, Jonathan Larson, and thank you for this great gift of work that has spanned that has spanned over 2 decades, and it's still one of the best musicals ever written. Now let me talk about this phenomenal cast. I'm going to talk about the cast, and then I'm going to talk about some of my favorite moments through the production tonight. I just had to say I really enjoyed it. It was beautiful. Well, the role of Mimi Marquez was actually played by Tinashe, and I have to say she did a phenomenal job. The role of Mimi, she's a stripper, she's also a drug addict, and she's HIV positive, and she's the ex of Benny, but she's the love interest of Roger, and Roger Davis, who was played by Brennan Hunt. And I have to say, he did a phenomenal job as well. Sadly, they weren't able to perform it live because he had an injury during the dress rehearsal. But nonetheless, he did a phenomenal performance as playing Roger Davis. Now, Roger Davis, he's a struggling musician who's HIV positive. He's an ex-drug addict, and he's also depressed because once he told his girlfriend at the time, a girl named April, that he was HIV positive, she committed suicide. So he's definitely depressed, and his mission is to write one meaningful song that he can leave, that will live beyond his life, because he knows that due to the AIDS epidemic, and during that time, you know, people were dropping like flies. And he's also the love interest of Mimi. So, and throughout the show, we really see them, because we definitely see that there's a magnetic chemistry between Mimi and Roger, but it's a lot, you know, coming between them, because they're both HIV positive. Pretty much a diagnosis that they both have, but each of them don't know the other one has it. And then there's also other things that come into play, so they struggle, but then they finally resolve, you know, their differences and finally come together as they were meant to be. Oh yes, and the role of Mark Cohen was played by Jordan Fisher. I love Jordan Fisher, and besides, he's kind of like one of my crushes. Don't say nothing, but I just told y'all anyway. But Jordan Fisher is a phenomenal talent. I loved him in Grease Live. He won what's the name of that show? I'm sorry, it just totally slipped my mind. But he won dang, what is that show? Dang. Well, it'll come to me. But yes, and also, you know, Jordan Fisher's a phenomenal, you know, singer and dancer, and he's playing the role of Mark Cohen. Mark is a struggling filmmaker. He's Roger's roommate. He was recently dumped by his girlfriend Maureen, who's now dating a woman named Joanne. And Mark Cohen is kind of the narrator of the story. So he's the one that's taking us on this journey with him and his friends. And he's one of the people that's not affected with HIV, but he's seeing his friends that he's loved so dearly. He knows that a lot of them don't have that much time left. But I have to say, yes, Jordan Fisher. Dang, what is that show? My grandmother used to watch it all the time. But yeah, I'm gonna keep moving because I don't want to stay on it. But he did win a dance competition. It's also the same competition that Alfonso Ribeiro won, and also Nicole Scherzinger. You know, so if y'all know the name of the show, please put it down there, because I'm so mad that this show completely lost my mind. But I'm a big Jordan Fisher fan, and I was happy to see him in this production, and he did a great job playing Mark. The role of Maureen Johnson was played by Vanessa Hudgens, High School USA. Like, yes, Vanessa Hudgens. And she came and she delivered, and baby, I was entertained. Vanessa Hudgens came through, and she did the damn thing playing Maureen. Now, Maureen is a performance artist who she's Mark's ex, and she's Joanne's new girlfriend. She's very flirtatious, and she embraces her sexuality, much to the chagrin of Joanne and Mark. So, and I have to say, Vanessa Hudgens did a phenomenal job playing this role. I never seen Vanessa in this kind of role, so it was great seeing her really stretch her wings. And powerhouse, baby. She was doing some powerful vocals tonight, and she did an amazing job. Angel Dumont Chouinard is actually played by Valentina. Those who know Valentina, she was on season 9 of RuPaul's Drag Race, and she recently was on, you know, All Stars 4. She just recently got voted off. But I have to say, Valentina, you fucking amazed me with your performance. I was so here for Angel. She was excellent. Superb. You know, we all know how Valentina was on RuPaul's Drag Race, but to see Valentina as an artist, Valentina did the damn thing. She was great. Like, she really brought that character of Angel to life, you know, because Angel is, you know, the heart and soul of Rent. She's the glue that holds everybody together. You know, she has a generous heart. She's Colin's love interest. She's a drag queen who has HIV. She's a street percussionist, and she has a generous disposition. And as I said, she's the heart and soul of the whole production, and she really did a great job playing Angel. I was completely focused on Valentina the entire time, and she did not disappoint. I was so here for it. So, Valentina, you did a phenomenal job. Now, the role of Tom Collins, boy, you better come through, Mr. Brandon Victor Dixon. What? Brandon Victor Dixon, we know him for playing the lawyer on Power. He was part of the original cast of The Color Purple. He played Harpo. He also took over the role of Aaron Burr in Hamilton after Leslie Odom Jr. left the show. And he was also nominated for an Emmy last year for his role as Judas Iscariot in Jesus Christ Superstar Live. Did a phenomenal job. I mean, this man has a phenomenal voice, and he did not disappoint playing Tom Collins. Tom Collins' character, he's an anarchist professor at New York University. He's Angel's love interest. He's also like a computer whiz, and he's the former roommate of Mark, Roger, Benny, and Maureen. But then once Benny and Maureen, but then he was the last one to leave because I think Benny and Maureen had moved out before he did. But Brandon Victor Dixon is a phenomenal talent, and I am so excited to see him in this role, and his voice just blows me away. I love this guy, and I love his talent. Okay, now remember, Jordan Fisher won the competition Dancing with the Stars. He won, the year that he was on. So Jordan Fisher, who played Mark Cohen, was the winner of Dancing with the Stars. I told you he was going to come back to me. He just didn't come to me at that moment. Sometimes I get brain farts doing these reviews, y'all. Y'all just have to, be patient with me, because it's like with me, I'm really trying to get all this stuff out, but then my mind moves faster than it comes out. Some of us YouTubers have this challenge. I'm definitely one of them that does, but let's just say, Jordan Fisher is, as I said, he's a phenomenal talent. He's a very good singer, a great dancer, and as I said, he won Dancing with the Stars, and I'm glad to see him in this production. But my boy Brandon Victor Dixon, he delivered playing Collins, and I was so happy to see him in this production because he is so phenomenally talented and his voice is amazing. So I was happy to see him. And then also, one of the things that Colin wants to do as his character is that he wants to open a restaurant in Santa Fe to get away from all of his problems in New York. So we definitely know that about Collins. Now, the role of Joanne Jefferson was played by Kiersey Clemens. And let me tell you, Miss Kiersey Clemens got pipes for days, honey. This woman was singing. She was giving everything to that character. Because Joanne Jefferson is this Ivy League, lawyer who's the girlfriend of Maureen. She comes from a very successful, powerful family. She's a woman that knows what she wants, but she's in conflict with Maureen because her and Maureen are such polar opposites. And to tell you the truth, I know a lesbian couple that is just like Maureen and Joanne. Pretty much how they're such different personalities, and because their personalities are so different, they kind of clash. One's more reserved and more private, and the other one's more outgoing and very, out there. So, it was great that they showed this, and it was great to show, a lesbian relationship, in the best light. Because Maureen and Joanne definitely, were that couple that they just butted heads, but eventually they resolved things and they learned to respect each other for who they are. And last but not least, the role of Benjamin Benny Coffin III, I think Mr. Larson called him, gave him the last name Coffin on purpose, because, and I'm gonna get to that. It was played by Mario. Love Mario, phenomenal singer, phenomenal talent. He was recently, he's right now is still on Empire. I think it comes back in March, but yeah, but Mario is a talent to be reckoned with. He also was on Dancing with the Stars as well. So you had this great cast ensemble that delivered, and Mario's character, Benjamin Benny Coffin III. He's the ex of Mimi, and he's also the former roommate of Mark, Roger, Collins, and Maureen. But due to him getting an inheritance from his father, he now owns the building. He's now the landlord, and once he becomes the landlord, he literally becomes this yuppie, stuck-up, asshole. It's like, and that's why I said that I think Jonathan Larson intentionally gave him the last name Coffin, because of his essence of who he was died once he got money. Because they all are living this bohemian way of life. La vie boheme. They're living this life where they are non-conventional, as far as their sexual orientation, as far as their spirituality, as far as their taste in music or their taste in life. They have a very, open way of looking at life, whereas Benny has now conformed, now that he's the landlord, now that he's made money, and now that he's married to this wealthy woman who comes from this very wealthy real estate family, Allison Gray. So, but then he kind of still wants to hold on to Mimi, even though Mimi is in love with Roger. He kind of uses his position to kind of keep Mimi under control, or better yet, to keep her at bay, because of what he has. He can always have that kind of control over her. And this was a good character too, because this was, as I said, I think Jonathan named him this on purpose, Benjamin Benny Coffin III, because you can see that at one point he was a part of this group of people, but now he's looking down on them. Now he feels that they're less than him because he has money. And we kind of see this problem in life, that when people get money, they change. They become completely, they actually lose their essence, is what I'm trying to say. Not all people who get money do that, because because Collins, was a professor. He was doing pretty well, but he never lost his nature. He never lost who he was. As a matter of fact, he will always come down, be giving them, he actually came to, get them food and things like that. And then Angel was the same way, even though Angel was struggling, because she was a street percussionist. But, Angel always had ways of getting money. And, that's pretty much the difference, that even though some, like for Collins, even though he was successful, he never lost who he was, and he never forgot where he came from. Whereas Benjamin literally buried it 6 feet under, and was just kind of giving off like he's been rich his whole life. And the fact that at one point you were breaking bread with them. So, as I said, this is a phenomenal story. It's a phenomenal play to see all of these characters interact. And I have to say, the music was on point. The performances was on point. The cinematography was amazing. The choreography was exquisite. I mean, one of my favorite scenes was, the scene where Angel dies. I thought the way they did that was so magical. It literally moved me to tears. Because I was like, wow, they really made it very angelic. They really kind of, did this scene where they were like literally talking about HIV and AIDS, and how people not using protection, people living recklessly, they attracted the virus, or due to blood transfusion, because there's multiple ways of getting HIV and AIDS. Sex is not the only way. So here they were sharing all of these things, but then they were kind of talking about how people having, reckless sex, has led them to, down the wrong path as far as being affected with HIV and AIDS. And I definitely remember at a time where it was a very big epidemic, and I'm glad that Jonathan Larson gave us this piece of work, that we actually can look at this and not only learn from it, but also see ourselves in this situation, see ourselves being one of these kids who was struggling, to pay the rent. But even though they're struggling, and even though they have problems left and right stacked up against each other, they still found the courage to love, the courage to live, and the courage to embrace community, to embrace diversity, and to embrace what it means to be human. So that's what I have, y'all. But this was a great production. I loved how at the end they redid, they did Seasons of Love again, and they brought out the original cast. I thought it was amazing. It really choked me up when they also paid homage to Jonathan Larson. Again, rest in peace, Jonathan. Thank you for this piece of work, because it's definitely moved me, as it has many around the globe. So that's what I have, y'all. Tell me about your favorite moments, of the Rent Live. Get down in those comments and let me know what you think. Subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you can get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow me on follow me on all of my social platforms. I have them all listed there in the description box. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I really enjoyed the Rent Live, and it was I think they did an amazing job. So I definitely see this production being nominated for some awards in the 2019 award season. So until next time, everybody, take care.